I'll tell you, we got George on the line who's got a question. Then we're going to get over to your question to me. George, you want to throw something out there to Mr. Korfman? Thanks for calling, bud.
Basically, I'd like to ask him why he just can't report the news as it is, as opposed to looking for stories that are only sexy, David.
Well, there you go, Mr. Korfman. You know, because you made the comment that it's not sexy enough to be reported on, and you know, I got to, and we talked about that. You know, why does it have to be sexy instead of factual?
Well, I mean,
it has to be both, doesn't it?
Well, it always has to be factual. But, I mean, you're looking for a story that's going to grab the attention of readers. This is, you know, that's whether it's factual or not I mean, that we start with that.
Aren't you going to grab your readers' attention by reporting the fact that this is the reason why you can't buy a home?
No, I didn't get that question.
One more time, George.
I said, aren't you going to get your readers' attention by saying these are the reasons why you can't buy a home, this is the reason why you can't refinance, regardless of whether it's sexy or not? Just come out and tell them what the facts are. I think you'd be quite surprised that your readership would actually like to hear what the real story is behind why they can't get their mortgages right now.
Here, how about this?
Well, let me just say that two things on that. At Cranes and at our website, which is dedicated to Chicago commercial real estate.
And what's the website?
ChicagoRealEstateDaily.com. And I mean, I do think you know, we do an excellent job of providing that kind of context. Now, we do not focus as much on the residential market per se, except for the development side. We have touched on some of these issues, you know, I think more broadly though, I mean, I think that the problem is that the doldrums, the troubles in the market here are not interesting to anybody until they either get dramatically worse or start to get better again.
But
we're at the part in the storm where the rain is still falling, but it hasn't let up yet.
Here's a story. A strip mall owner standing in front of a strip mall that's 80% not occupied right now, with for lease signs on buildings. And you could find that pretty much walking and driving anywhere in Chicago right now. And a business owner sitting there going, I don't have any business, and then going to people in the neighborhood saying, why aren't you able to shop there? And they tell you that I can't sell my house because the liquidity's not there. I can't get out from underneath my second because Fannie Freddie won't let me combine it, and I don't need an FHA loan. And I can't do this because the loan amounts are there, or Chase or WAMU or whatever. You know, all these banks are freezing my line of credits. Doesn't that all impact a business paper? Because that's the story. That's the marketplace. We need higher loan amounts. It solves a lot of the problem. You're not going to save every business right now, Tom. I'll give you that. But it gets Joe and Sally six-pack able to refinance. And it's a huge story.
Well, I would say that employment comes before housing in terms of the driver of the market. There's no question, however, that as we've learned to the negative in the last couple of years, and as we learned to the positive earlier in the decade, the housing market has a huge impact on the economy in general. I mean, nobody ever thought we'd see, nationwide declines in home prices.
30%. Right.
This
crazy.
Right.
It's crazy. George, you good?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for calling. George sent me a text, and that's why we picked him up. You wanted to ask me a question, and before the break, we got Bruce from Rockford on the line next. But you wanted to ask me a question, so we're going to keep Bruce on the phone. 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. Townstone Financial Show, AM 5000, AM 50. What the hell is it? AM 560. I've got Brian Bernardoni from the Chicago Association of Realtors and Tom Korfman in here from Cranes. Brian, Bruce from Rockford, hang tight. Tom, you wanted to ask me a question before the break.
Last year, the major banks announced a voluntary program to identify troubled mortgages before they fell into default or
right.
before they fell into foreclosure,
right.
in an effort to try and work things out.
Right.
Have you seen any effects of that?
No effect, because it's a crap program. It doesn't help anybody because the banks didn't participate. How do I know? Because I called banks as if I was a borrower asking for help, and none of the banks participated. David Hochberg, investigative reporter, sat at my desk at home on a Saturday, called 800 numbers of all the big banks, and the big banks are like, we're not participating in that program. There's no help out there for you, and we're not helping you.
That's not entirely fair. Chase, I think, set up an office, and the southwest side.
When the program came out, I answered his question. When the program came out, I called around, and I couldn't get anybody to help because there was nobody. There were no programs there to do it. I don't know what it is now, but I'm telling you right now, you want an easier story? Here's the easier story. Fannie Freddie Streamline Refinances, carbon copy of the FHA program that's been on the books since 1980s. Okay? You need to make your mortgage payment on time for 12 months, which means what? You're making your mortgage payment on time for 12 months, right? No appraisal needed. So you take out all of the upside-down properties. You have qualified borrowers, because they paid it on time for 12 months. And you don't have to verify any income. You don't have to verify any assets. If you are in a 6.5%, 7 right now, refinance you just like FHA, whammo-bammo into a new loan. You eliminate all of this crap. And you put a cap on closing costs of $2,500, and you eliminate all of these credit restrictions. I will generate $1 billion a month for the local economy. I will bet you a cheese sandwich I will generate $1 billion a month. Okay, but our attorney general won't allow that because we need to prove somebody's ability to repay. You would save, you know how many people you would save with that, Tom? Cost the taxpayers nothing. Nothing. No story from the media on that. Okay, you want something that affects the problem? That solves the problem right in its track. Right in its track. Because that person that's stuck in that house, and then the secondary lenders, those no-good SOBs, have to issue a subordination agreement within a week. You've got 500,000 people losing their jobs every single month in this market that could process that paperwork. But you've got big federally chartered banks taking 60 days to give subordination agreements and cutting people's lines of credit. Okay? Instant subordination agreements, mandatory subordination agreements should be processing these loans in under a week and getting that money back on the street. But it's not being done, and nobody's reporting about it. And I got boob sweat because I'm all fired up right now. Look at that. You see? Look, it's coming. I'm sweating.
You have a lot of passion about it, Jeff.
3-month elephant.
Well, I'm trying. Let's go to Bruce. But I hope I answered your question.
Yeah.
But it's not that tough, Tom. But nobody is talking about it. Nobody is talking about it. I talk to people every day that are dying, that are just looking for a little oxygen. And what does $1 billion to the economy do? It gets people buying cars. Okay, $300 a month, that's a car. They could go buy a car that they're giving away right now. But they can't. That's to buy groceries for the week. But they can't. It kills me to talk to these people.